Okay, great. Joel here. Day 2 of Advent of Code. They drop the problems at midnight Eastern, which is 9 my time. So in an ideal world, I would start them at 9 my time and get a good score and get on the leaderboard. But um, 9 is when I put my kid to bed, so I put her to bed, and then she goes to bed. And then once that's done, I come here. So um, let's get to it. The internet can see me now. 0 watching. Awesome. Uh, that's what I would have guessed. So let's look at problem number 2. Inventory management system. You stop falling through time, catch your breath, and check the screen. Destination reached, current year 1518, current location 83 and 10. You made it. Outside the utility closet, you hear footsteps and a voice. I'm not sure either, but now that so many people have chimneys, maybe he could sneak in that way. Another voice responds, actually, we've been working on a new kind of suit that would let him fit through tight spaces. But they lost the fabric. When they've had enough fabric to sell boxes, they'd be stored together, so the box ID should be similar. Too bad it would take forever to search the warehouse for 2 similar box IDs. They walked too far away to hear nor. Late at night, you sneak the warehouse. Who knows what kind of paradoxes you could cause if you were discovered. Use your fancy wrist device to quickly scan every box and provide a list of the likely candidates. Your puzzle input. Make sure you didn't miss any. You scan them again, counting the number that have an ID containing exactly 2 of any letter, and then separately counting those with exactly 3 of any letter. You can multiply those counts together to get a rudimentary checksum compared to what your device exists. For example, A, B, C, D, E, F contains no letters that appear exactly 2 or 3 times. B, A, B, A, C contains 2A and 3B, so it counts for both. It contains 2B, but no exactly 3. 4 contains a letter that contains exactly twice. 3 of them contains a letter that exactly 3 times. What is the checksum for your list of box IDs? So I think that makes mostly sense. And make sure I'm actually streaming, which I appear to be. I have kind of an OCD thing about that. So let us select all and copy and stick this under data. And let's say, I think there's only 2, or there's only 1 input per day. So I'm just going to save it like this. And what is this problem called? This problem is called inventory management system. So let's go here and say day 02 inventory management system.py. Okay. And so what do we want to do? With open data day02.text as f. And what did we call these things? We called them IDs. Okay, so IDs equals line.strip for line in f. So I think that's right. And let's go to IPython. And let's check out the IDs. Those look like the IDs. And so what are we trying to do? We want, for each ID, we want to see if it has any letters that contain exactly 2 or 3 times. And we want to count how many that is. So let's do a couple of things. One is that we'll import counter, because it seems like a good use for counter. And what we want to say is character counts of a word is just the counter of the word. So I won't even define a function for that. So we want to see what are the actual counts. So what I mean is this. I could have like A appears 3 times and B appears 1 time and C appears 2 times and D appears 2 times. And we want to say that that gives us 1, 2, and 3 as the car counts. So let's say car counts from some word, which is a string, and is going to give us a set of int. So that means we need a set, from typing import set. So what do I want to do? I'll call this car count values, because really, like car counts equals counter word, and then I just want to return a set of car counts dot values. So what I mean is that, if I have, let's say, A, B, C, C, D, D, and car count values of that equals the set 1, 2, 3, because there is a 3, the A appears 3 times. There is a 2 because both the C and the D appear 2 times, and there's a 1 because the B. And just to be cute, let's do an edge case, and that should be an empty set. So if I go here and run a day02 inventory management system.py, I get an assertion error on my cute case, and that is because, why is that? Because that's an empty dict, not an empty set. So I wasn't being too cute, I just wrote the test wrong. So that's my fault for being dumb. And now what I want to do is I want to say the checksum of some IDs, count how many exactly twice, checksum of IDs is a list of strings, so let's import list up here, and that's going to be an int, and let's say returns A times B, where A is the number of, well, I'll just say returns number of strings with a character occurring exactly twice times a number of strings with a character occurring exactly thrice. Yes, that's right, I'm going to type thrice. It's a real word. It sounds goofy to say it. So what do I want to do? Last year I did this thing where I would try and guess what the second part was going to be and program so that it would account for that, but it's too early in the advent of code season for me to guess what the second part's going to be, so I won't do that yet. One pass through the data, 2 passes through the data. Let's say num2s equals 0, num3s equals 0, 4 CCV and car count values of IDs. No, car count values is only for 1, so sorry. 4 box ID and IDs. CCV equals car count values of box ID, so that'll be a set. If 2 in CCV, num2s plus equals 1. If 3 in CCV, num3s plus equals 1. And then return num2s times num3s. So I think if I understood the problem correctly, that's how it works. So let's just write a unit test for assert checksum of, and that it's probably a faster way to do this, but and I should be making those in the comments, but it's fine. So let me make sure I understand this and go back. So this doesn't count. It contains 2A and 3B, so it counts for both. So that's 1 and 1. 2B, okay, so that's 2 and 1. 3C, so that's 2 and 2. So that's 3 and 2. 4 and 2. And then 4 and 3, okay, which is 12. So that seems right. Equals 12. So let's see if I get the right result on their set, which I do. So now let's print the checksum of the IDs. And it says it's 8118. So, having no better idea, let's submit it and see what happens. That's the right answer. Hey, 7 people watching. That's pretty good. No one has said anything. Hi, everyone. Okay, so let us continue to part 2. Confident that your list of box IDs is complete, you're ready to find the box's full prototype fabric. Boxes will have IDs which differ by exactly one character at the same position in both strings. For example, given the following box IDs, the IDs ABCDE and AXCYE are close, but they differ by 2 characters, second and the fourth. However, the IDs FGHIJ and FGUIJ differ by exactly 1 character. Those must be the correct boxes. What letters are common between the 2 correct box IDs? This is not a big data set, 250 times 250. So basically, here's the deal. I want to find 2 strings that differ in 1 character. So there's basically the naive way, the n squared way, which is I do a nested loop, 4 string in list, 4 string in list. If they differ by 1 character, that's the answer. And that's like n squared, but 250 squared is not a big number. If you had like a million inputs, like you would in a Google Code Jam, you wouldn't want to do n squared, so you do n. So then what you might do is as follows. Actually, you know what? I'm going to solve it the n way because I think that's actually sort of interesting, and I think it's sort of interesting. So I'm going to do it. So given a list of IDs exactly to differ by exactly 1 character, find the remaining characters. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So have characters in common. Let's see, IDs as a list of strings, and that's going to give us a string. So this is going to be clever, and that is okay. Leave 1 out equals a counter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for box ID and IDs, and then for, let's say, I in len range box ID. So for each character, I'm going to say leave 1 out equals a tuple of box ID up to I plus box ID I plus 1. So let's make sure this is right. So when I have A, B, A, B, A, B, I pick I is 0, leave 1 out is I take everything up to 0, which is nothing, plus everything starting at 1, which is that. So that's B, A, B, A, B. And then I think that's right. So now I have this tuple, and what I'm going to do is just say leave 1 out, leave 1 out, plus equals 1. So I'm counting that. So if I left out that A, I would count B, A, B, A, B, which is what's left, then I'd count it again. And let's see if this works. I think it'll work. I'm thinking of like edge cases where like if I have this A, B, A, B, A, B, like on my screen, that's going to put B, A, B, A, B in there. Actually, maybe I don't fit it in once. But So I'm going to do this, and now I have this counter, and now I want to print leave one out, most common. Let's do 2, and that way we'll make sure that the most common one has 2, and the next most common one has 1, which will print you know, test IDs equals so this probably would have been simpler to just do the double loop, but and if this were a job interview, well, if this is a job interview, I would say, hey, there's an n squared solution that here's what it is. Do you want me to code it, or do you want me to just jump to and so let's say characters in common test IDs. Let's go over and run this. Stir object cannot be interpreted as because I got my range and my len backwards. So that's fine. So this says FGIJ is 2, BCDE is 1. Okay, so let's do this. Best count, not best count equals this, and we're just going to leave one out most common 2, so that's fine. So assert that count equals 2, assert that not best count equals 1, and then return. We'll join together this tuple, which is the best. So now let's say assert that characters in common test IDs equals, and we said it was FGIJ. So let's go back and run this unit test, and that assertion passed, so that's good. So what letters are common between 2 correct box IDs? So print characters in common of, what do I call it? My IDs. So let's go here and run this, and I got an assertion error. So that's interesting. So let's just print this and see what happens. Oh, JBren Quill, JBron Q. So these are okay. They differ by 2 characters. However, the IDs FGHIJ differ by exactly 1 character. But there's a common between the 2 correct box IDs. So why did this show up with 2? JBrenQW. Let's go take a look at this. JBrenQW. JBrenQW lag XHI. V MSYS. So that one's not right. So why is that showing up? JBrenQW lag X. Lag X. HIV MYS. HIV. It's not working because I did something dumb, which is I need to, okay, good. That was stupid of me. That's what I get for trying to be clever. So I need to put like an underscore in here to show that I took something out. And And now I need to remove that C for C in best if C is not equal to underscore. So the problem is that all I did was I said, let's take a character out, squash what's left, and keep track of how many times we've seen that. And this was what I was worried about before, sort of what I was worried about before, that basically, if I take out, let's say, the first character and from one and the last character from the other, and I get the same thing by squashing them, that actually doesn't satisfy the condition. So I need to actually put a placeholder in here. So we can say cars equals a list box ID. Yeah, no, I won't do that. So anyway, let me go back and run it. And now I don't have an assertion error because I fixed that problem. So let me take out that print statement. That was not bright of me. So let's run it. And now there's only one. Good thing I wrote that unit test to check what letters are common. So let's submit this, and that is the right answer. Okay, good. So that is fixed. These are awesome headphones. And so that's finished. So let me go and get add day02, get commit day02, get push. I'm not using a branch. Don't need to use a branch because I'm not really working on multiple things at the same time. And that's it for the day. So you got to see me make my first stupid mistake, although it was not a stupid mistake that got submitted. So that's all she wrote. And I will see you guys tomorrow or whenever I decide to do the next one. So thanks for watching. And where's my stupid right? So if you don't already follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter. And obviously you're watching this on YouTube, so I think you know how to find me on YouTube. And like I said, I set up a Patreon, and I think right now it's got a grand total of 0 patrons at $0 per month. So it is what it is. And like I said, I don't really need the money. So okay, that's it. I'm done. See you guys.